Why Amber Heard should not be blamed for false abuse allegations. The Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard trial seemed to dominate every social media platform this summer. When I first heard about the case through a TikTok livestream, I dismissed it. I assumed that two white, affluent actors would be able to live their lives regardless of the outcome of the case, but I now realize that this case has far more significance than I imagined. Heard is now used as an example in comments that appear whenever a case involving a male celebrity accused of abuse is mentioned. Comparisons were made between rapper Megan Thee Stallion and Heard, with Megan being called a liar during her trial against Tory Lanez. These remarks have only recently been silenced as Lanez was found guilty in December. The uproar began when Heard wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post about her abusive relationship and experiences following her disclosure of her abuse. While she does not name anyone in this article, Johnny Depp felt his reputation was jeopardized and filed a defamation suit against Heard. Depp, who is well known for his iconic roles in a variety of films, won the case this summer. A slew of disturbing posts on various social media platforms ostracizing Heard or idolizing Depp became increasingly concerning. These videos and posts were impossible to avoid, and they continue to appear months after the trial's conclusion. In addition, people I knew, many of whom were much younger than me, began interacting with posts mocking Heard and her testimony. The most alarming fact was social media seemed to be only broadcasting one type of message: Amber Heard is a money-seeking liar and Johnny Depp bears no responsibility for abuse. Despite Depp's known history of violence and abuse, pro-Depp propaganda was running rampant on social media, and it was working. Propaganda works best when there is an underlying bias against a particular topic. Gender biases pervade most aspects of life, such as employment and healthcare, but they are especially dangerous in cases of abuse. Many people place the blame on the victims rather than the alleged abusers. While it's very true that men are also victims of abuse, women face additional challenges when it comes to coming forward about abuse. In rape cases, many people place the blame squarely on the shoulders of the victims. This means that Heard will have a difficult time gaining support from the start. Some reason that Depp represented an underrepresented demographic of abuse victims due to his sex, which contributed to the outpouring of support. It's important to note that this case was not about him reporting abuse. It was about defamation because Heard revealed her own abuse in an article. The case verdict is detrimental to the efforts of abuse victims speaking up, both male and female, and does not represent an unseen demographic of abuse victims. Many Depp fans rallied in the guise of supporting a minority male abuse victim. Nonetheless, their protest messages suggest otherwise. Fans dressed as his movie characters appeared in front of the courtroom. They modeled Depp's enormous social capital, a worldwide public fondness of him, and a likely reason why he won the case. Heard stated in an interview that Depp is a beloved character in the eye of the public. Most people are more familiar with Depp and harbor a greater affection for him than Heard. This is important because abuse assumes a prerequisite of power, more specifically, an imbalance of that power. Johnny Depp, through his influence and prominence, indicatively held more power in the relationship, as well as in the public's favor. It's important to consider that abusers aren't only outcasts of society, they are often widely admired by many. They are trusted and have a network of people who can vouch for their morality. But abuse happens behind closed doors. It's private, invisible to those not exposed to the intimate side of abusers. Strangely, the case was widely televised. This rarely happens in Virginia, where the court hearing took place. Garnering millions of viewers, countless outside perspectives with a bias for Johnny Depp were invited in. Considering this, it's difficult to imagine that the media coverage had no part in influencing the verdict of the case. The polarized posts on social media and news outlets spending thousands of dollars propagating anti-Heard messages all point to a power dynamic that only Depp is able to abuse. Even before the verdict was reached, this case played into many anti-feminist and victim-blaming antics. Not only were Depp supporters perpetuating a false image of him, but they also discredited Heard by policing her testimonies. The court case between British musician FKA Twigs and American actor Shia LaBeouf will take place later this year. It would be disappointing, but not surprising, if Twigs received the same treatment as Heard. Tactics aimed at tarnishing Twigs' image, like Heard's, are likely to delegitimize her claims at all costs. Twigs, on the other hand, will be even more vulnerable to public scrutiny, having already faced racist and sexist treatment online during her relationship with actor Robert Pattinson. Even in 2023, a more hopeful and effective culture around abuse remains to be seen.